Hello, everybody. My name is James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. And today, I'm joined by two of our correspondents looking forward to a fixture in Gameweek 31. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Tottenham Hotspur correspondent, Ricky Saunders. How are you, Ricky?
I am superb. Thank you very much, mate.
That makes a change. And let me introduce you to our Newcastle United correspondent, Simon Bibby. How are you, Si?
Doing very well, thanks. On a bit of a losing streak, but so probably not as chipper as Ricky today, but all good. Can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with you, Ricky. Normally, you tend to come on and we've got something to moan about, but we've won 2 games in a row. What's going on, mate?
We've won 2 in a row. We've put them mouthy East London pricks to bed.
Careful.
Sorry, Suj. No offense, mate. It's good, mate. The football is good, and that's something that we haven't been able to say for quite a while. I think we could all see what Antonio's trying to do, and we're now seeing the results on the pitch as well. So yeah, it's good times, mate. Positive times.
Yeah, I mean, I said this on Monday's pod that I felt like it's almost a changing moment on Sunday where the football went with the performance. I think we know that Conte is going to bring winning football generally, but actually the performance was really good on Sunday. The style of football was really good. And actually, if you reflect over the last number of games, going back to the Manchester City game, it has been, bar the catastrophes in the middle at Burnley and Middlesbrough, respectively. I mean, Burnley could have gone either way. Middlesbrough was awful, and we'll put that under the carpet.
Don't forget Wolves as well, mate.
Yeah, Man City was after Wolves, so I'm not going back that far.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I'm painting a narrative here, Ricky.
Oh, sorry.
But we're not short of scoring goals at the moment, are we?
No, mate, no. So 3 against Ham, 5 against Everton, 4 against Leeds. The goals are flowing lovely. Few different goal scorers as well. We're not reliant solely on Harry. Obviously, Sonny's chipped him with a few. Kula's chipped him with a couple as well. Something that's really impressed me, certainly at the weekend, but in recent games, we're getting standout performances across the park as well. We're not being purely kept alive by Son and Kane. I mean, Bentancur was magnificent. Romero's defending, his anticipation is superb. The standout performances everywhere, and it's everything's coming together lovely.
So you're probably a bit gutted I didn't invite you on 2 weeks ago, weren't you? Because you were on an incredible run of results, which then ended up Chelsea somewhat harshly. I watched the game and I thought you played quite well. But then losing to Everton is obviously very disappointing. Is it a blip? Because at the end of the day, you're now safe, aren't you?
I think it was the culmination of 4 games in 2 weeks for us, and all of those being like away games as well, apart from Brighton at home. So we had 3 away games in a row. I think that Chelsea defeat, like, as you said, like we played really well in that game tactically. That's the best I've seen Newcastle play
really
away
good
from home against any side. Like actually going with a game plan and executing it, and not playing with fear, which is something we've not seen for a very long time against the big teams. So I think that last minute defeat deflated us. I think the Everton game was a bit of a weird game. Like I think we played quite well in the first half, but we weren't playing at our usual intensity. I think I tweeted something out like we just came up against a team that needed it and wanted it more. And then you had all of the shit that went down in the second half with the guy tagging himself on the post and the sending off and everything else. I think we just lost our rhythm in that game. Didn't have the players on the pitch to like execute, win the game. And then to be fair, Everton, it was a nice goal that they scored on the counter attack. So disappointing, definitely disappointing result. But similar to last time, I think when we had that international break and the team went away to Dubai, they've gone and done it again. So I think it's opportunity to regroup and refocus. I still think we need a couple of wins on them to secure it, seeing as other teams seem to be picking up a few points.
But not the bottom 3 as such at the moment in terms of Norwich, Watford, Burnley. It looks like a sizable difference at this stage, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think to be honest, the team is that they're not looking over their shoulders, the bottom 3. I think Eddie Howe's instilled the right mentality in the squad, and I think they're just looking to improve and get results, and they want to win games. They know what it feels like to go on like a winning run. I think with the fixtures that we've got coming up, particularly before the end of the season, where we face again another run of top clubs. We've got that nice little pocket of fixtures coming up, particularly with some home games that I think will pick up the points that we need.
Yeah, 31 points from 29 played, up to 14th. I mean, miraculously, Si, you're 5 points off 10th, mate. 5 points off 9th, sorry.
Yeah, as I said, I think we're looking up, but at the same time, we've kind of had our run, and I'd expect a couple of other teams in and around that middle pack to go on their run. So I think we'll finish around about where we were. 13th every season is pretty standard for us. Might be where we finish, might finish a little bit higher. As I said, like we've still got to play like Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. So not the easiest sort of games, not the easiest run in. But yeah, I can't complain of where we were at the start of the season. Even when I came on the pod last time before we played Brentford, we picked up a couple of really good results. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Ricky? Newcastle safe now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I'm hoping that there is the kind of job done mentality at the moment, so that will help us out at the weekend. But yeah, the run, as you say, it's been quite amazing. I didn't think even with some of the players they brought in that they would get out of it. But yeah, I clearly don't know much at all. And yeah,
we didn't think we were going to get out of it. To be fair,
no, I mean, I didn't think that. Like Chris Wood's 25 million. That's brilliant business for Burnley. I mean, you've done them a right favour there, but I just didn't think the money was spent that wisely. But once again, this is why I do the job I do, and someone else, gets paid to do football stuff. But no, it's worked out really well. Looking like a good cohesive unit. The new players have gelled into the team nicely. Really unfortunate about Kieran Trippier. It's such a shame to see him out for a while with his injury. But yeah, that you've got 6 teams below you, and they'll probably be lucky to win 6 games between now and the end of the season between them. So I don't think there's any danger for Newcastle whatsoever.
Yeah, you're better than them 6 teams below you now, Si. I think. I mean, difficult fixture run means that you wouldn't suddenly be looking at top half. You mentioned some of the difficult games still to come. But yeah, cannot see you being in any trouble. I mean, that run, I think when you conceded the late goal at home to Watford, was a little bit concerning. I think people were really worried at that stage. Since then, 6 wins and a draw was what followed afterwards, and the draw was an impressive point at West Ham as well. So, I mean, nobody below you is capable of putting that sort of run together. So, credit to you for getting out of it. Ricky, top 4, Arsenal in the box seat, or do you fancy it?
Oh no, Arsenal still in the box seat. They're 3 points clear of a game in hand. We've all I can ask is we give ourselves a shout, and right now we are doing. As I said at the start of the pods, we could all see for a while what Conte's been trying to do, and now it's starting to pay off. No cup football is going to be a massive one for us, and that's what's going to give us a chance because Conte runs his players into the ground, and then we've got a full 6-7 days to recover after every single game. So we can put a run together, but it's not in our hands. It's entirely in Arsenal's hands. They need to. I mean, if we beat them, then that's level points for game in hand. So it's possible, but I'd still, if I had to, I'd still put money on Arsenal to finish in 4th.
Whose phone's ringing? That's going to get me a copyright strike.
That was me.
Bloody hell, mate. Obviously, it's the same for Arsenal as well. No cup football left. And actually, it's the same now for Manchester United as well, which I think, no disrespect to West Ham fans, but I think 4th is looking probably beyond them now, and the same for Wolves. It's an unusual one that the 3 teams going for 4th have got no cup commitments whatsoever. Do you think it leans into all 3 teams having a great run in, possibly?
I think they will do. Us and Arsenal, I think Wolves are out of it. I think it's between us, Arsenal, and United. I think West Ham now they've lost momentum. They're starting to pick up some injuries. Bowen's a big loss for them. Antonio, he played against Seville. He played against us, but there's questions over his fitness. Same with Cresswell as well. They're big players, and they're going to need a rest if nothing else soon. So there's 3 teams going for 1 spot. United are always in with a shout because of the quality they've got, but they just can't seem to get their act together.
No, but Leicester, Everton, Norwich, their next three, they'll fancy taking maximum points from that. So they'll stay certainly in the race. They go to Arsenal in game week 34, which is straight after they play Liverpool as well. So there are a couple of big games for those two. How do you see that fight, Si, between the three teams for fourth?
I mean, I think like everyone, we've been quite surprised by Arsenal's consistency, and they seem to have developed some bottle out of I don't know where. It's just not really been in the club's DNA for a long time. But you can see Arteta's kind of his style of play. He's finally got like the message across, and he's got the players and the system that he wants to kind of replicate what Pep does at City. Obviously, not to the same degree, but they've been impressive. And you've got to say, like, I think they've only got one game in hand, and I don't know how many. They've got one double game week left. Is that right? So they'll be.
Well, their game in hand essentially is Chelsea away.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And they lost their last big game. But I think it was more like Ricky said, like if they only have to play one game a week for the rest of the season as well, you'd put them favourites. But
I agree.
Spurs seem to be slightly over that kind of hoodoo of winning one, losing one now, which has come at a bad time for us. But I think they'll push them. I think Man U will just, they know that the manager they've got in place isn't going to be there. You'd think a couple of the players will probably leave. I've seen some more rumours that Pogba's on his way out. So they seem to be like forever in a club in transition. And
that's every international break with Pogba, isn't it? Someone asks him something and he has to give his opinion by the sounds of
it. They're not as good as Arsenal and Spurs this season, team-wise, manager-wise.
They've got the individual quality though, haven't they, over... we're not talking over 38 games here. We're talking over a short period now.
Yeah, I can't see it though. I think it's between Arsenal and Spurs for that fourth place spot.
Ricky, what do you think was going on with this win-lose nonsense that was going on for a while? Why do you think that 1 week Tottenham looked so good and then looked so bad the next game?
I think some of it was the fitness levels, because they do run a lot in a game. They cover a lot of ground. They're being asked to do a really tough job, and I think some of it's fitness levels. We've had luckily certainly this is the first game I remember, or two sets of games where we've been unchanged, which I think was a big help as well. But just a bit uncertainty around the team itself. Chopping and changing with right backs and left backs.
That also felt part of the problem though. Like when he went to Middlesbrough, and I know it was a cup game, but he picked the same team that played at Leeds 3 days earlier. So it feels like that was also part of the problem.
Yeah, I saw the team sheet and my first response was, wow, that's, he's picking a really good team. And I thought, shit, that team's going to be knackered. And so we do need to rotate. And luckily we're not going to have to rotate too much for the rest of the season because of the breaking games. But I think it was mainly fitness. The players know what they're doing, but also as well with us, we know how we're going to play. We're going to look for a counter attack, and all teams have got to do is sit back. And we're still struggling to break teams down that sit back. We saw that against Burnley. We saw that against Middlesbrough. If a team comes at us, we can catch them on the break. If they don't, we kind of run out of ideas a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And so what do you think's been the big change for Newcastle? Because this is now worlds away. I know it's a couple of bad results recently, but it's worlds away from what we were seeing prior to Eddie Howe. What has he changed specifically, do you think?
Sorry, if you heard that, it was Sky Sports app just going off.
I didn't. I won't get a copyright strike on that one, actually.
Okay. Top to bottom, I think the mentality of him and how he's changed it. And interestingly, he was recently talking about the impact of the pandemic and how it was quite hard to build team unity and team spirit because everyone was like isolated and had to like stay away in pockets and stuff. So I think, even like the silly shit that you always hear when a new manager comes in, like pictures in the training ground and stuff like that. And Yeah, so after every win they had that kind of cheesy team photo, which became like a thing and something that fans really look forward to. So in the change rooms afterwards, he'd take a photo on his phone of the entire squad, and that includes like coaching staff and everything. And even when he won Manager of the Month last month, it was like him stood in front of his coaching team, as opposed to when the one time Bruce won it, where he was just like stood outside a kebab shop or something. I think. But
I was going to say he stood in front of the Angel of the North with his arms spread.
No, I don't think anyone let him get that close. It's too big a hill anyway for him to climb up there. But I think it starts and ends with like how his mentality, and everyone knows he wasn't favourite for the job, but even when he came into his interview, there's reports of like how he approached that whole process of really analysing how he could improve the current players that we've got. Obviously had some ideas for which players he wanted to bring in. I think the link with Trippier is kind of key. They used to work together at Burnley, so you can tell that was him signing. I think Dan Burn, whether it was him or the club, but the idea of bringing back someone that's local to the area, as well as like a very good footballer and left-footed, was a good signing. I think Target, like fantastic bit of business. Like if you could make a left back, I think out of your carbon copy, like standard out the box left back, he's it, and he can defend, he can go forward enough, solid, never gives the ball away. So he's been fantastic. And we talked a bit about Shah, I think, on the last pod as an example of a player that just wasn't in the team, wasn't given a chance, and now he's playing in the right system. He's got a partner next to him that he trusts, and he's come on leaps and bounds. He's quite a good FPL pick, I think, at the moment.
I take it all the fan base is quite happy with how at the moment. No one's getting ahead of themselves and now thinking, right, we need to get an elite manager or anything like that at this stage, are they?
No, not at all. And I think it's kind of similar to when we had Rafa Benitez. Some people still criticise his style of play, but he had a good connection with the fan base. I think Howe's building that up. No one's criticising Howe after the last two defeats, but you have seen a few things on Twitter about like certain players, like St Maximin's come in for a bit of criticism. Particularly when he gave the ball away against Everton and stuff, and he's actually seen that and he's responded on Twitter to some of that criticism. So there is that kind of annoying element of the fan base that starts to try and like pick apart certain players, and for some reason it's like St Maximin's turn to get a bit of stick. But I'd say if he's fully fit and having had that like week's break, I think he could have a very highly motivated and good end to the season. Particularly as some of our other forward-facing assets have disappointed a bit in the last few weeks.
And Ricky, how do you feel about Antonio Conte? Can you deal with the mood swings?
Yeah.
Is it just part of what comes with him, and we just have to accept it?
Yeah, it's part of it. It's his passion. Look, the man is a winner. And when he doesn't win, he gets the arse. And that's what I want. I don't want a manager on the top. Oh, well, we played well.
I don't want him threatening to quit today. Every time he loses a game of football, mate.
I don't. But, I mean, look, the way I see it, he's sending a message upstairs. And he said it himself, this team is not good enough. I need more players. And if Levy wants to keep him, he's going to have to back him. And there's no point in... Mourinho came in. And what a fantastic group of players! I can work with this players. And Levy said, "Great, this is brilliant. Money, music to my ears because you're going to get no money." And he served them up with some dross. Conte's made it very clear: you want to succeed, you need to give me the players that I want. So let him have his mood swings. If it makes Daniel put his hand in his pockets, great, carry on.
Is that the solution? Transfers?
Yes and no. Obviously, he's proved he can make some players better. I mean, what he's done for the Irish Cafu is amazing. I've got him in my team. I never thought I'd ever do that.
Terrific.
Yeah. And Ben Davies as well. I mean, that bloke has not put a foot wrong. He couldn't get a kick under two managers. He's come into the side. He's not put a foot wrong, and he's looked good. So Conte can clearly improve a player, but we're still weak in certain areas. We do need some improvements. Fullbacks, a lot of speculation over Reggie, whether he's going to stay or go. As much as we're all Doherty fans at the moment, we know he's not a long-term solution, and neither is Emerson Royal. So we're going to need to improve him in both fullback areas, and we're going to need some other sort of backup striker as well. And
centre backs and midfielders. There's still a lot to do, I think, for Tottenham to be looking at next level.
Centre back, yeah. I mean, obviously Ben Davies is not a long-term option. In Dyer and Romero, I've got full confidence. Romero is just outstanding. What a player he is.
When obviously Conte was out without Romero basically for his first 3 months. When Dyer then missed games in January as well, it was disastrous, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Watch what's going on without both of them. I think with those three now, that's fine, but that three is not going to stay fit for 38 games of a football season. So you need better cover, don't you?
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody thinks we're going to win the league with Ben Davies at left side of centre back, as good as he's been, gentle Ben.
No, and he has been good, but Ben Davies should be our backup centre back, not our starting centre back. So we definitely need someone, at least two, because I don't think that Sanchez is fully up to the task either. Unfortunately, as much as I like him, I don't think he's the player that we thought he was.
I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but Kulusevski's been some signing for you. Is he a Conte signing?
Well, yeah, definitely, mate. He tried to take him to Inter as well originally when he joined Juventus. So Conte's been after him for a couple of years.
I don't think I've seen him make an unforced error. Like, he's given the ball away when he's attempted crosses and stuff. But obviously, you see him a lot, pay more attention to him.
So
I've seen him play.
Going back to Twitter and what you see on social media, I mean, Kulusevski had 15 minutes against Brighton in the Cup on his debut, and everybody in the Tottenham community seemed to write him off quite quickly, purely because he didn't have electric pace. He's a quality footballer.
Yeah, really good.
But while we're on him, really Ricky, impressive. Go on. What impact has Decky, the ginger from Sweden, what impacts he had on Tottenham?
But he's given us a spark. He's given us some life. He's got a lovely little partnership going with Doherty. They seem to understand each other well. He's slotted straight in with Kane and Son. It's like he's always been there. It's amazing to think that he's only played a handful of games for us. It's like he's been there for years. He's understanding. He's got a great brain. He's full of skill. He hasn't got pace, but he makes up with that with everything else he's got. He can take a shot. He can make a pass. He's blinded. He's absolutely brilliant.
Despite that no pace, he can still run at someone, can't he? It's unique because of the upper body strength he's got.
He can take people on. He's not one to be pushed off the ball or bullied off the ball. He's made a big difference. I mean, look, we all love Lucas. Lucas gave us one of the greatest nights of our lives, but he is
the greatest.
The greatest. But he is Kula's a massive upgrade on Lucas.
Looks like Kane trusts him and likes playing with him as well. He seems to have given him like an extra element to his game, knowing that he can pass to someone and he might get the ball back. Whereas with Sonny and
he's always on the move as well, Si. So I mean, there's a brilliant example for the one when Son hit the post on Sunday, where Kulusevski's played a little ball to Kane. Kane doesn't even look. He knows that Kulusevski's going to keep going. Most people just admire the pass. He's always on the move. He's comfortable on the ball. He's almost like a wide target man, in the sense that you can, not aerially, but you can just pop it into his feet and it will stick. And okay, the ball might go backwards, but if he turns inside, he's got the picture. He's a creative player, which is something we've desperately missed, haven't we, Ricky? We haven't had anyone with creative vision for a couple of years, and he's got it. I take it he's in your FPL team, Ricky.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, at that price, he should be in everybody's team. There's no doubt about it. And the games we've got as well, rest of the season, we can rack up some goals against these teams. We've got a few leaky defences to play. So yeah, he's in my side. He's barring injury, he's going nowhere.
Could you find any reason to put people off going for him?
No, I genuinely can't. He's playing in what is probably the most dynamic front three in the Premier League, other than maybe Liverpool. It's in a team that's scoring goals. It's in a team that's attacking and not in good form, and he's actually got something to chase. There's not a lot of teams in this league, and they're going to dwindle over the next few weeks, that have something to play for. And while we do have, he's going to be spearheading a good attacking team.
Any concern on rotate? Go on, Si, go on.
I was going to say, I can think of one reason why you wouldn't want to get him in, and it's the situation I'm in, which is I've got Doherty and Son, and I want Kane, and I don't really know whether a Son downgrade to Kulusevski is the right move to fund that. So
It won't feel like it after the weekend just gone, will it?
No, it'd be like sunny at home, particularly with like playing Newcastle. I know like Kane's going to score this weekend. It's like, or not this weekend when they play. It's inevitable, but it's whether it's worth ripping my team up to make that transfer. I want to do the Kane move, and I think the sooner the better. And I can't figure out when I'm going to play my wild card, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be before 33.
So what Tottenham assets have you got, Si?
Son and Doherty at the moment.
Son and Doherty, and I take it, Ricky, you've got Doherty, Kane, and Kulusevski.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Ricky, are you thinking of moving Doherty away to be able to fund Son, or are you just cracking on as you are?
No, I think. I've played up our attacking potential, but I think 3 attacking assets is overkill, really. So I'm happy with the 2 and Doherty.
Is that the solution for Si?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, look,
rather than getting rid of Sonny, because I mean, the other thing is, I think when you put it on the face of it at the moment, it doesn't feel like Son is worth 5 million more than Kulusevski.
No, it doesn't.
But then Son is still a decent price, which makes it awkward. Yeah,
Son is a very good price. We fancied at the start of the season that Son would score over 200 points, and he's well on his way to doing that. I don't think for me it's a choice between Son and Kulusevski. I think Kulusevski is in, and then you decide if you want Son or Kane. I think that's the choice.
Yeah, I feel like obviously 3 hitters, many have just had Kane and Son together, but it feels like it probably is one or the other.
Yeah, I think so.
And in that case, Ricky...
sorry.
Go on, Si. No, go on.
I was going to say I had the 3 attacking players on the 3 hit, and it felt quite nice. And like even if 2 of them return, you're more than likely going to get 2 out of the 3. And if you think about like how many people on average return in your FPL team, like 7, 8 is good. So if Son blanks, Kulusevski gets an assist and Kane gets his points, you're happy with that. So then like Doherty, I don't know. I still don't trust you guys for a clean sheet. Even against us, I think more than likely it's one of the better defensive fixtures of the week.
Anyone who can take corners against us is going to be a problem. And I think looking at the fixtures ahead, Villa 32, Brighton 33, Brentford 34, none of them are mugs in terms of offensive set pieces. So although the fixtures look nice, and I mean, Si, you've got some powerful units as well, in fairness, haven't you?
Yeah. I think Shah scored from a corner recently.
Ramirez at Southampton.
Yeah.
That was a bad finish, wasn't it?
Insane finish. And then I've still got Chris Wood in my team, so from the doubles. So I think he'll play on the off chance he might get something from the set piece. Shame we haven't got Trippier to show you what our real right back looks like, but we've still got a couple of players with decent delivery. So
we're well aware that Kieran Trippier would walk into the Tottenham team at the moment. To be honest, I think Emil Kraft and Javier Manquillo might as well, in fairness. I do want to come on to the Newcastle assets, Si, but the Ricky, Kane versus Son.
Yeah.
If you were wild carding now and you can only go with a 1, where do you go?
I'd go with Kane. Son is look, I'm not trying to say that Son is not a good asset, because he absolutely is. 2 reasons for me. Kane at the minute is unplayable. He's scoring goals, his passing, his assists, he's doing everything. And if you don't go Kane up front, who do you go with? There's the list of forwards at the minute is absolutely abysmal, but there's a lot of midfielders that you want. So I would balance it out by getting Kane, leaving Son out, and then getting 4 other midfielders, because you've got to have Kulusevski as well. And that's the reason for
it. But it doesn't feel right to. I mean, I'm in a position that I've got Kane and Kulusevski. I don't like looking at the team in any week without Son, particularly when there's home games coming up.
I absolutely agree. But if I put Son in there, who am I going to drop? At the minute, I've got Salah, Kulusevski, Saka, Mount, and Ramsey. So you've got to probably want to keep Ramsey or someone of that price for the money in your squad. So do I drop Saka? Do I drop Salah? Mount, I can get rid of him possibly, but with their upcoming fixtures, where do I make the room? But up front, my strikers are Kane, Weghorst, and Broha. If I get rid of Kane, who am I getting to replace him? Nobody out there.
Chris Wood, he's told you, but we'll come back onto that. But how would you feel, Ricky, if Salah got injured? during this international break?
Oh, that's yeah. That's
do you shove it around to get Son in at that point, and leave yourself with only Tottenham captaincy options?
It probably would be only Tottenham captaincy options unless you want to go for a Trent when he's back, or if he's back, or Cancelo. I probably would go for Son. Move. Well, no, I'll tell you what. I'll move Doherty onto Robertson and Salah onto Son. That's probably what I'll do in all honesty.
Makes sense if it's affordable. Yeah, it's just difficult to fit Salah, Kane, Son all in together when you've got the likes of Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, when Reece James is back available.
Or actually, to be fair, if I had to get rid of Salah, I'll probably go for Jota or Diaz.
The other problem with Son is your fixtures are home away. I think if you had 2 away fixtures in a row, that would be the time I'd bin him off. But knowing that he's only 1 game away from playing at home and he can go off in any home game, it's really difficult to try and rip him out. I'm just actually tinkering to see if I can get Salah, Son, and Kane in.
Ricky, what are you at with chips left?
One wild cards, bench boost, and free hit.
When are you intending to free hit?
33.
So we'll do it now then. How many Tottenham players on that free hit? Brighton at home in 33.
Well, I need to look at the other fixtures, James.
Well, it's naughty because my intention is to free hit in 33, but the more I look at it, the more off-putting it is. One of the reasons is as well, I'm sitting there with 2 Newcastle assets at the moment, Si, in Martin Dubravka and Ryan Fraser. And in fact, I've landed with Dubravka and De Gea, both with doubles in 33. And I'm wondering if I should be looking at bench boosting that. And if I do, I'm probably looking at a third Newcastle asset as well, Si. So talk to me about Chris Wood then and these lack of goals and why you think he might still be a decent option.
Chris Wood, the record New Zealand international goal scorer, Chris Wood.
Yeah.
Is that the same one we're talking about?
Does he play like these games against Oceania countries that are ranked like 185th in the world? And
if you watch his
Islands,
mixtape,
Vanuatu,
it's hilarious.
Cook Islands,
against India,
American Samoa. Sorry, Si, go
on.
Samoa,
he's disappointed
Samoa.
me. He's
Tonga.
I'll be he just list them all.
Fiji.
Australia. They're not bad.
Australia playing Asian qualifying. They don't even play them, do they?
Does not?
No, Australia going the Asian qualifiers.
They've been there for about 10 years now, maybe even more.
Playing the island ones. All right, fair enough. Anyway, he's got pedigree. Let's say that. He hasn't even got goal international.
He's doing, in seriousness, he's doing a good job for the team, isn't he? But it doesn't feel like the attacking returns. I don't feel like he's particularly missing chances. Have I got that wrong, Si?
I bought into that narrative, and I think I was talking that up on the last time I was on here about him doing a good job for the team. He's disappointed me with he's a big man, but his first touch and his hold up play isn't that good. Isn't as good as you think it would be for someone of his size and stature. He occasionally tries to play like too many like little flicks or like one touch passes off when he should just hold the ball up and lay it off. And I don't think he does enough of that. I think he probably thinks he's a bit better than he is. And he is actually last couple of weeks, even though he has scored in that time, he has disappointed me a bit. He's clearly not like first choice, but like Wilson's not coming back till April, so there's no point having a conversation about him.
Nearly April. When in April are we looking at? Because the double obviously begins weekend starting April the 16th. So surely there's a chance Wilson will be close by then, isn't there?
Yeah, they're both doing light training, and they're both on schedule to be back for April. Let me see. I'm just reading something now. It's end of April. I don't think it's in the first half of April. So if we take that to mean it is looking at the fixtures. Oh, I mean, game week 33. Well, it starts on the 17th, ends on 20th. So I think both of them are just going to miss the double, and then you're looking at Norwich away in 34. So for people at wildcard in 35, slight outside chance. Norwich away, Trippier, one game, possibly.
I mean, I'd love the double. I know Trippier. I've seen videos of him back on a bike. He's got no chance of making 31 and 32, in your opinion, no?
No. The difference is his is a foot injury, so I think they're being more cautious with Callum because it's a calf slightly connected to his Achilles, which is why he's been out for 3 months with it. But he looks in decent shape from the running that he was doing. He's obviously not nowhere near match fit. I don't think they'll rush him back, particularly if we get the points that we need in the next couple of home games.
I guess realistically, if you're saying probably not back for Norwich 34, again, wildcard is 35, or to be honest, even not wildcard is 35, probably selling Newcastle assets at that point anyway, unless you're benching them. Liverpool 35, Man City 36. And obviously we know in your case, it will definitely just be a single. It won't be a double. So you'd be selling after 34 anyway. So anything Newcastle at the moment, you're only looking really short term, aren't you?
Yeah, I think you're not, unless you're a wild card in this week, you're not picking them. And if you are, you're probably benching them. We've got Wolves at home, 32, Leicester at home, and Crystal Palace at home at 33.
It's a great
and
double.
then Norwich away.
Yours is probably
really
the best double side.
It's Sunday, Wednesday fixture as well. And you just know like Eddie Howe's going to get the squad up and he's going to be targeting those 3 home games. And then whatever happens at Norwich is a bit of a bonus. But I think realistically, like, if you were to break our season down, I think that's a mini season for us. I think we get back, play Spurs after our little international break. Anything we pick up there is a bonus, and then you've got those 3 home games. And I think he'll be looking for 9 points. I think anything less than that, he's not going to accept. So I think we're a good bet. I think in those fixtures, you look at what have Crystal Palace got to play for. When's the FA Cup semi-final?
It's that. So you'll play Palace 3 days because they'll play on the Sunday as well. You obviously play Leicester, but it'll be a 3-day turnaround for Palace.
So possibly they get spanked or they get through.
And obviously you'll play Leicester 3 days after they played their Europa Conference League quarter-final second leg as well. So
as long as we don't put in an Everton type performance and think that we can just sort of turn up and we're the better team, which we won't against those 2 teams. I think 33, particularly if you're bench boosting, like 3 Newcastle players is, what are you looking for? 16 points? You think if you pick the right ones, there's a possibility of hitting.
The only thing with that is I think because Newcastle's double's really good, I don't think anybody with Newcastle players in that game week who are bench boosting would probably bench them. They'd be part of the best 11, I should imagine. I mean, there's every case to say that for those who free hit in 33, you'll just go with 3 Newcastle. I think there's certainly a case to look at that in terms of budget option as well. Dubravka's cheap, Share's cheap, Burns cheap, Fraser's cheap. St. Maximin's in and around the value of shit forwards.
They're all cheap. But I think I've heard you say the argument for a bench boost 33 is the bigger single week players. So you got like Man City, single game week, Spurs got a single game week. So like you probably would do some shithousery and put your Newcastle players on the bench for a bench boost. I mean, if I was bench boosting 33, that's probably what I'd do.
I'm not having that they'd be part of the. I mean, if you had, for example, Dubravka and De Gea, then fine. Dubravka might be your backup goalkeeper, for example. But generally, I think Newcastle players would be part of a best 11. If people want to bench wanker it, then that's fine. But they're going to be high on radar. So if you were free hitting 33, let's say we're there now. 33 now, we know no Trippier, no Wilson. Let's assume that's the same. And you're going 3 Newcastle on free hit. Where are you going with it?
On current form, so I wouldn't go Joe Willock because I had him for the double over Fraser, and that was disappointing.
Wee man.
So Wee man, I think, is still in our best 11. I'd be tempted to go 2 defensive, 1 attacking, and I think I'd go St. Maximin, just 2 home games.
I would have been amazed if you didn't say that, Si.
Yeah. And I owned him at the start of the season, but like having looked at he's not a good off the bench impact player. I think Eddie Howe knows that. He needs to kind of start a game and get into the game. And he's proved that if he's fit, he can play 90. I think if he's fully fit, I think he can play 170 out 180 minutes in that double, no problem. If he's fit. And you look at the other striking options as well for that week. I think you're looking at Newcastle striker, and I think Chris Wood, unless he starts hitting some form, he's just not getting the shots. He's not getting the volume that you want. No assists for us yet this season. I think it's St. Maximin. And then defensively, I think you could go, I think Dubravka, he's not going to get a lot of save points, I don't think, against potentially Leicester, but less so maybe against Crystal Palace, although they typically come up to St James's Park and play quite well. And then I think the same guy I shouted out last time, I think Share's the best defensive option for what he brings offensively.
He's 0.1 cheaper than Burn, I want to say as well.
I think that is correct.
But
yeah.
Burn feels a little bit of a safer pick, or do you just see both of them as safe picks at the moment?
I think unless we ship 5 in the Spurs game, he feels like he needs to change it up, and something goes really badly wrong with the Wolves game. I think that's our front two. Lascelles has kind of been in and out when injuries are required or a change of system, but he's not our starting centre backs. If Shelby's fit, he's captain. If not, I'm trying to think who was captain in the previous game because Shelby was out. It was Shah actually. Shah led the team out, so he's third in ranking. So I think he's a lock for that defensive slot as long as he comes through the international break. So I think obviously no transfers yet.
I think most people will go treble Newcastle that free hit in 33. I think one defensive, whether that's Dubravka, Share, Burn, I think it's probably one of that. Manquillo doesn't feel like it needs to be saved. It feels a bit risky at the moment. Burn and Share are both cheap enough. And then I think Fraser will be quite popular as the punt, and the fact that he just did it in the last double game week. And I think if St. Maximin proves his fitness between now and then, he'll be so popular because you look at the forwards around his price who've got doubles that week. Lacazette's more expensive. Second game's Chelsea away. Maupay has got an awful double. Weghorst is not too bad, but Newcastle's double is definitely better. Leicester guess away whether Iheanacho or Daka will get minutes, especially if Vardy's back by that point. That's a nightmare. United obviously don't have anyone in and around that value. And in Southampton, you could make the case for Che Adams or Armando Broja. But I think for free hit especially, St. Maximin would be really interesting. If I free hit in 33 and he shows his fitness before they are, I'll go with him. Fairly certain of that.
Yeah. And I think like having just experienced Iheanacho on a free hit, your expectations are, I would say, higher for that caliber of player. I don't know what your expectations would be for a St. Maximin. Maybe 2 returns, 2 assists, goal and assist over 2 home games. Chris Wood, you're just happy to get anything. So yeah, my team's in a bit of a mess now. I think about it for Newcastle. I've got two Newcastle players that I definitely don't want, and yeah, I think I might be leaning towards just free hitting and swapping them out. And then no doubt Chris Wood and Willock are the ones that do stuff in the double game week if I do free hit in 33 to get
Ricky, what's your Newcastle interest at the moment?
I've got none at the moment. I won't have any either until 33. And basically along the lines of what you said, definitely Fraser, more than likely Shah, but possibly Dubravka. And I don't really want to get St. Maximin, if I'm being honest, because he's so bloody unpredictable, but that will probably be the sensible route to go down.
St. Maximin will either be like 13, 14 point, or it will be off 20 minutes of the first game and 1 point, won't it?
Yeah.
I feel like we've had this conversation with you about St. Maximin before doubles before. So in fact, I'm sure we had it just over a year ago when we said similar. And I think if I remember correctly, he did get injured in the first game, but I think for free hit as well, particularly rather than buying, yeah, I would want to punt that. Where would you put Ricky, say, Fraser with the double there versus Kulusevski with a single against Brighton?
That's a wicked question, James.
Sorry, mate, but I've asked it.
Now, to be fair, for this one, with the 2 fixtures that Newcastle have got, I'd go with Fraser. As you said, they're both coming off of important games that they will field a strong team for. And if there's going to be any rotation, it will be in the game against Newcastle. Neither team needs the points. They've both got bigger fish to fry. So yeah, I would lump in on Newcastle for that one. I think they'll get 2 results out of both of them games.
And therefore, presumably, you would say actually for that particular game week, Newcastle defensive better than say comparable Tottenham prices like Dyer and Davis.
I would probably try and get both, if I'm being honest, because I don't fancy Brighton scoring away from home against us.
Oh, Ricky, what have you done there, mate?
But no, if I had to pick, I would go Newcastle defensive first, and then if I've got any space left, I'd go Tottenham defensive afterwards. But I don't think I need to go Tottenham defensive that week. I think there's other options elsewhere. Newcastle, Arsenal have got 2 games, and I'd even someone like Trippier, Tierney,
and
Tierney or White. I'd fancy to get more points, even with a game with Chelsea thrown in there.
what about the Irish Aaron Wan-Bissaka then? Matt Doherty. God. Definitely a better reference. Sorry, I feel bad for AWB. Bit of an FPL ledge. It was the first name I could think of.
Not Cafu.
No, definitely not that. I was going for a degrading comment there. Doherty, Region. Where do you stand on it, Ricky, for people who want to invest new? Because those running through, again, Tottenham's fixture in 33 is good. The next 5 on paper are attractive anyway, aren't they? Newcastle at home, Villa away, Brighton at home, Brentford away, Leicester at home. Then we presume the double, Liverpool and Arsenal. Then it's Burnley and Norwich in the last 2 as well. So even the 2 most difficult fixtures are likely to come as a couple, most probably in 36. Yeah. What would you say to people who want to invest in Tottenham defensively? No.
At the moment, so I've got Doherty, and I'm going to stick with him for the time being. But if I was coming in brand new, I would go for Reggie. He's got his place back in the team. He's looking good. If a player's more likely to go forward, it's going to be him. And you just got more confidence. Look, we all joke. The Irish Cafu is said tongue in cheek. We know how bad he's been for at least the last 18 months, and I'm not going to be fooled into thinking he's now a world-class player after 2 games. But he's got some good returns. But if you pick him from scratch, go with Reggie.
So you'd rather go with the Spanish Luke Shaw then?
The Spanish Luke Shaw. I'm not too sure what the price difference is between them actually.
They're pretty similar. Region's got to be more expensive.
Reggie is
in your own time, Ricky. I mean, it's my show. I should know.
Sorry, mate. It's 0.4 more. So if you've got 0.4, go for Reggie. If you're struggling for budget, probably go someone other than Doherty because it's not sustainable.
Okay. I mean, it's surely longer term though. There's a threat to both players, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
I always speak about that wing back position is a nightmare. Obviously, the 1 game per week probably means at the moment Doherty's got favouritism. We think Sessegnon won't be back till the end of April, which probably rules him out to 35. But if he was looking to run right to the end, I don't know if you'd have any confidence that Region would see you through the double in 36, would you?
No.
Particularly if Liverpool and Arsenal would say within 3 days of each other, for example.
Yeah, he wouldn't play both of those games. And Sessegnon, he had a little bit of a tricky start when he got in the side, but he didn't really let anybody down. He did well. He played well. Conte clearly rates him and likes him. So it wouldn't be the world's biggest surprise if once he's fit, he's back in the side, or at least sharing minutes.
Is it fair to say when Sessegnon plays that Doherty's given more license to go forward? I feel like since he got injured a couple of weeks ago, Doherty's not really been as far forward with Reggie in the team. Is that fair?
I don't buy into that, but go on, Ricky.
No, I was going to say, I'm going to say the opposite. I thought it was true. I think we seem to send one person forward. When it's Doherty and Sess, it will be Doherty that gets forward. When it's Doherty and Reggie, Reggie's one getting forward. But you are more of an analyst of that, James. So I'll listen to you now.
I just think back, obviously, you had the Sessegnon assist for Doherty in the game at Leeds, but then there was one at the weekend where Doherty crossed and Region was trying to get on the end of the header at the back post. I think the idea is actually that they're synchronized. They're probably just not tuned in enough to be able to do it together at the moment. There's also something happening at the moment where the 2 midfield players are taking turns to press a little bit more, which means the team's dropping deeper into a 5-4-1, so possibly takes them a little bit longer to move forward. When Tottenham from goal kicks go to a 4-2-4 system, it's Region tends to be positioned as a left winger. Ben Davies goes to left back and Doherty be positioned as a right back. And that's the way it would have been with Sessegnon as well. So I don't see the impact of that because neither Region or Sessegnon are particularly great defensively. Not that the Irish Wan-Bissaka is either, by the way. And can I just clarify that I believe Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a better player than Matt Doherty before any Man United fans come and hunt me for that. So before we finish, Bruno Ramirez. We've not seen a lot of. Obviously, everyone's seen the goal at Southampton, presumably. But do you see him taking a starting role now?
Oh, he's mint. He's so good. Like, he just looks a level above anything we've had in our team for like a very long time. And that's someone that's clearly not up to like the pace of the league yet. Even in his, so he went down with cramp after his first start after about 60 minutes. Second game, I think he lasted until 85. But like, yeah, just someone that can like use the ball, recycle the ball. He is a little bit of a psycho when he's got the ball in his own box. Like, he will pirouette and pivot and play like dangerous passes to players that have no right receiving a 6-yard pass.
Benton calls the same with us, mate, to be honest.
It's like, well, have you not? He obviously hasn't watched enough tape on the rest of the team to know, or done enough training drills to know that you should not be passing to anyone else in our team. But I'm really excited about the possibility of him and what he can deliver. And particularly, I feel like him and Wilson next season will be like a really good combination to look out for. I feel like he plays at the same sort of pace that Wilson does. And you saw it with Wilson quite a lot when he was in the team, that some of the stuff that he was trying and the runs he was making, some of the players that he was playing with just didn't have that football IQ to play with him. I think he's a smashing little player. I think physically, I'd be looking for him to tone up. If you've seen him, he doesn't look like he's in like physically the best shape. He's not like that muscular. He looks like he could probably lose like 5% body fat, but then I guess we all could. But
I think more actually, mate.
Yeah. I think if Eddie gets into him and gets that physical side of his game up, he's not the paciest, but he doesn't need to be. Really good, really good. I think now he's in the team. He's a lock. Weirdly, like Joel Linton is not. He kind of came into the side when Joel Linton had that groin issue. I think he takes Shelvey's spot. I think, potentially if they're both fit, he might play in a double pivot with Shelvey against Spurs. I think we might, having had a week of training, warm weather training, he might try something a bit different against Spurs. So potentially both of them could play there, which would mean, I'd say like sadly for me, because he's my team, I think Willett could potentially drop out. I don't know. I think he's in the team. I think he's in the team to stay. You might as well bed him in now.
Do you think back 4 or back 5 at Tottenham?
I think he'll go back to. It's hard to say, because against Chelsea, I think there was a few personnel issues that led us to playing the way they were. So it's hard to say whether that was by design, but I think it was more injury led. I think he'll. And you play with a back 5 as well, so it's tough to say. I think he wants to play in the back 4, and I think having had a week of training, I think we'll go in with a back 4.
I think if the design of the team moving forward is to play a back 4, that's probably what he'll play, because I think you've got the cushion of points now to try and play the way you want to play.
We need Manquillo playing right back though. In a back 4.
Howe said before after the Chelsea game that he didn't intend to play that way, but I think Willock and Shelvey got injured the day before, and that enforced a change because you'd run out of midfielders. So I would have thought a back 4, plus I don't think West Ham changing to a back 5 would have particularly endeared him to the idea either. Ricky's yawning at the thought of West Ham, and I can't say I blame him for the benefit of the audio listeners. Ricky, before we finish as well and we do predictions, Oliver Skipp has obviously been missing for a while for Tottenham, and there's been a lot of Tottenham supporters obviously hankering after his return. It's kind of well-known statistic now that the points per game ratio is much better when he plays, but he's not coming straight back in, is he?
No. To be fair, the midfield now, they've done well, and they've earned the right to keep their spot. So Skip's going to have to force his way back in. I don't know if Conte's going to do that straight away. I don't think he likes. He's not going to want to upset what is at the minute a good functioning unit. Everyone knows their job. Everyone's doing it well. I'm not saying that Skipp won't be able to slot into that, but he's going to get minutes on the bench, I think, for a while, until something happens, until someone lets him down. Then Skipp will come into the side.
Could you see? And this is thinking ahead towards game week 36, particularly. I'm thinking Liverpool away. Could you see if Skipp, Bentancur and Højbjerg, those 3 are all still all available and fit at that point? Could you see Tottenham going with just Kane and Son up front and leaving Kulusevski out? Or is he just too important?
No.
Even at Liverpool?
Yeah, look, if he wants to shore things up, it depends what Conte wants to do. If he wants to go there and grab a point, then yeah, quite possibly. I don't know if that's in his vocabulary. I think he's going to want to go there and try and win the game. So it is possible, and it will probably be the smart thing to do. But our game is at the moment, it's about counter attacking, and you're going to need them three on the pitch to break the lines of Liverpool. We're not going to do it with just two of them up front. We need three.
True, but then it was Son and Kane up front together against Liverpool, and I'm still fascinated by the fact that the night we won at Leicester, which everybody remembers for the late drama, we played ever so well with a three-man midfield, and haven't seen it once since at all, other than sort of closing down a game very late on. So I wonder if it's something that might come back for those games right at the end. I don't think that should put people off Kulusevski. And I have one final question for you, Ricky. Do you think Antonio Conte will be Tottenham manager in August?
Yes.
Do you think they'll back him?
Yes, and I think that's why he'll be manager.
Do you have stupid blind faith, or?
I have zero evidence based on anything that I know or any evidence that Daniel Levy has ever given me to think he will back him. I just think we've run out of quality managers that want to come to our club. We've got a world-class manager. If we lose him, where do we go? Honestly, where do we go from here? So I think he's now got to back him and back him well. Otherwise, he will walk. And we know he'll walk. He's walked out of every other club where he hasn't been backed. So Daniel Levy is not an idiot. He's a clever businessman.
Are you sure?
Well, mate, you don't get to make the money he's made by being an idiot.
Are you sure?
I'd like to think he's not an idiot. But no, I think he'll back him. Will he get everything that he wants? No, but I think he'll get enough to keep him where he is.
Yeah, I think when we reflect now on the January business and the signings of Bentancur and Kulusevski, it's undoubtedly improved the team. Let's do a prediction then, Ricky. I know it's sort of 10, 11 days away. Give us a correct score for the Newcastle game.
I'm going to say 3-1. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet, but I think we will score some goals. So 3-1 for me.
Si?
Well, I was just looking at your recent fixtures, and obviously you're on a bit of a high. You haven't won your last two home games, but before that, you did lose to Southampton and Wolves at home. We've got the potential to replicate that, but I just think, you look like you've turned a corner. Your team's clicking. We're coming off 2 defeats. I think it'll be a very tight game. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs, though. I think we'll just. You've got too much going forward, I think, for us to stop you scoring a couple of times.
You're not going to hate me for not backing Newcastle this time, though.
Nah.
You're still pulling yourself up the chair when I predicted you to win at Brentford, aren't you?
Yeah, that was a shock. So I was
right though.
That was good karma there. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember. Did you predict them going down to 10 men after 10 minutes?
I definitely didn't. In fairness, so I think that prediction was a bit void. In fairness, I'm going to go 2-0 actually. I think you definitely improved defensively, Si. And I think with Wood at the moment, there was a danger of him getting isolated the way we're playing at the moment. So I actually think a clean sheet in that game might be possible. And for a change, I'll tempt fate. Yes, I'd still go Kulusevski over Doherty before anybody asks me. I'll go 2-0 Tottenham actually. Guys, thanks very much. Ricky, before we let you go, where can the guys follow you on the Bird app?
At Ricky Saunders 77.
And site?
FPL_football.
Thank you so much, guys. We've got 2 Clash of the Correspondents for you next week on Tuesday. A bonus COTC with Jack Toner and Sean Norton previewing Burnley and Everton's double game week 31. And then on Thursday, Sam Murray and Mark Hammond will be joining me to discuss Brighton and Norwich. Have Norwich still got a chance of staying up? And what's going on at Brighton? Why has it suddenly fallen apart? And I can also confirm for you that the week after will include a bonus Clash of the Correspondents on Monday as well, with Johnny Pringle and Dan Lord previewing a potential title decider between Manchester City and Liverpool. Just leaves me to say thanks again to Ricky and to Si. Enjoy the interlull. Thanks, everyone. Cue music, please, Manchild.